When a woman walks away, most men panic. They start overthinking, chasing, apologizing for things they didn't even do wrong, and trying to win her back like it's a game they've already lost. This video is about that, the mistakes men make when a woman leaves. And if you've ever been through it, you already know how emotional that moment can be. But what if I told you that the way most men react when she walks away is exactly why she doesn't come back? Welcome to the channel, fellas. Here, we talk about relationships, masculinity, and understanding women on a deeper level. Not from fantasy, but from real-world experience. Today's topic will probably challenge a few beliefs you've been holding on to. Because the truth is, when a woman leaves, it's not the end of your story. But for many men, it becomes the beginning of their downfall. The biggest issue? Most guys think they can talk their way back into her life. They believe words can fix what their energy destroyed. But when you chase someone who's already left, you lose more than her. You lose your self-respect, your focus, and your power. In this video, I'll break down the 7 mistakes men make when a woman walks away, and how to avoid every single one of them. So stay tuned, because once you understand this, you'll never look at rejection or walking away the same way again. Before we start the video, I want to remind you that my exclusive online course on mastering the dating game is available now. If you've been learning from my YouTube videos, you're only scratching the surface. This course goes deeper, teaching you everything you need to know about the dating game, from approaching a woman to building real attraction. We just finished section 5 in the course, and you won't find this information on videos on my channel. It's easy to access with a secure payment option. Visit stoicapproachtolife.podia.com or click the link in the description to enroll now and improve your dating life. 1. Chasing after her. The first and biggest mistake men make when a woman walks away is chasing her. It's the most common reaction. She pulls away and you panic. You start sending long texts, calling late at night, checking her social media, trying to figure out what she's doing, who she's with, and if she's thinking about you. Every move you make comes from fear of losing her for good. But here's what most men don't realize. The moment you start chasing, you flip the dynamic completely. The man who once had value in her eyes suddenly becomes the one seeking approval. When a woman leaves, her emotions are in control. She's either testing you to see how you'll react, or she's genuinely detached. Either way, your chase confirms everything she needs to feel justified. She tells herself, "He's desperate. I made the right choice." That's what chasing does. It feeds her emotional validation while draining yours. You stop leading the situation and start reacting to it. The more you chase, the more she runs. Real strength in this moment isn't about showing her how much you care. It's about showing her that you won't crumble when she walks away. Chasing doesn't rebuild connection. It destroys attraction. Because women don't respect emotional chaos. They respond to stability, calm, and confidence. The man who can control his emotions when everything falls apart is the one who stands out. When you pull back instead of chasing, you're sending a powerful message without saying a word. You're saying, "I value myself enough not to beg for someone's attention." That silence makes her question her decision far more than any text or apology ever could. You're not punishing her, you're protecting your dignity. And ironically, that's often when she starts to wonder if she made a mistake walking away. Every man needs to understand this. Love built on chasing isn't love, it's anxiety. You can't make someone come back by proving your worth, you do it by remembering it. The moment you stop chasing, you take your power back. And whether she returns or not, you'll walk away stronger, wiser, and 10 times more attractive than the version of you that begged her to stay. 2. Begging for closure. One of the most painful things a man can experience after a woman walks away is the confusion, the endless why that plays in his head. You start wondering what went wrong, what changed, and why she suddenly stopped caring. So you do what feels natural. You reach out for closure. You send that message asking to just talk, to get some clarity, or to understand what happened. But here's the truth. When you beg for closure, what you're really asking for is emotional reassurance from the very person who took it away. Most men don't realize that closure is rarely about getting answers. It's about trying to ease emotional pain. You think if she just explained herself, you'd finally feel better. But that's an illusion. You're not seeking logic, you're seeking comfort. And when you hand that power over to her, you give her emotional control. You're basically saying, my peace depends on what you decide to tell me. That's a dangerous place to be in as a man. A woman who walks away already knows why she did it. She's processed it emotionally long before she made her move. When you come looking for closure, you're stepping into a conversation where she's already made up her mind. And because emotions drive behavior, she won't give you the closure you're hoping for. In fact, her answers might hurt you more. Vague statements like, I just need time, or it's not you, it's me. She's not lying, she's trying to avoid guilt, but you're left even more confused, replaying every word, trying to decode something that was never meant to give you peace. Real closure doesn't come from her explanation. It comes from your acceptance. It's the moment you say, I may not understand it all, but I accept it. That's where your strength begins to rebuild. Because closure isn't something you receive, it's something you create. You close the door not because she gave you permission, but because you value your peace more than her presence. When you stop begging for closure, you start sending a powerful signal to yourself that your emotional state isn't dependent on someone else's validation. You start to rise above the emotional chaos. And that's when women notice. Because nothing unsettles someone who walked away like seeing you calm, composed, and focused instead of desperate for answers. So remember this, you don't need her to explain why she left to heal. You only need to decide that your healing is no longer in her hands. The moment you do that, you become untouchable. You stop reacting like a man who lost something, and start moving like a man who found himself again. 3. Taking all the blame. When a woman walks away, most men immediately go into self-blame mode. They start replaying every argument, every moment, every word, trying to figure out where they messed up. They convince themselves that if they had just done something differently, she would have stayed. It's a painful spiral that eats away at your confidence and makes you believe you're the sole reason the relationship ended. But here's what men need to understand. A relationship ending isn't always about fault. Sometimes it's about fit. And blaming yourself for everything only keeps you trapped in guilt instead of growth. Women are emotional decision makers. When she walks away, it's rarely because of one thing you said or did. It's the accumulation of how she felt over time. Maybe she felt unheard, maybe she lost attraction, or maybe she was just emotionally disconnected. But when you take all the blame, you're trying to control her decision by rewriting the story in your head. You tell yourself, if I can find the mistake, I can fix it. That's not reflection, that's self-punishment disguised as accountability. Now don't get me wrong, real men take responsibility. They look at where they could have been better, more grounded, more emotionally aware. But responsibility is different from self-blame. Responsibility says, I'll learn from this and grow. Self-blame says, I'm the reason she left and I deserve the pain. One builds you, the other breaks you. When you carry all the blame, you also excuse her behavior. You overlook her part in the dynamic, her withdrawal, her lack of communication, her mixed signals. All because you're too focused on fixing yourself to see the full picture. That imbalance destroys your confidence. You start walking on eggshells in future relationships, afraid of repeating mistakes that weren't entirely yours to begin with. Real strength comes when you can be honest without beating yourself up. Yes, maybe you could have communicated better. Maybe you got too comfortable or too emotional. Learn from it. But also recognize that relationships require two people showing up, two people being accountable, and two people choosing to stay. When one walks away, it's not your job to carry the entire emotional weight. When you stop taking all the blame, you regain emotional balance. You start to see the situation with clarity instead of guilt. You stop asking, what did I do wrong? And start asking, what did I learn? That's the mindset shift that separates weak men from strong ones. Because strong men don't drown in regret. They use it as fuel to become better versions of themselves. So remember this. The breakup wasn't the end of your value. It was a mirror showing you where to grow. Stop apologizing for everything. You don't heal by punishing yourself. You heal by forgiving yourself. 4. Trying to make her jealous. After a breakup, one of the most common traps men fall into is trying to make their ex jealous. It's that moment when ego takes over and whispers, "If she sees me with someone else, she'll regret leaving." You start posting more on social media, showing off the gym progress, hanging around new women, maybe even pretending to be happier than you really are. On the surface, it looks like confidence, but underneath, it's still emotional dependence, your self-worth tied to how she reacts. Let's take an example. Think about a guy named Daniel. He'd been in a 2-year relationship with a woman named Lisa. When she walked away, he was heartbroken, but instead of facing his emotions, he tried to trigger hers. He started dating another girl a few weeks later, posting pictures that looked a little too intentional, laughing a little too loud in his stories, and doing everything to make Lisa notice him again. For a moment, it worked. Lisa viewed his stories, even messaged him once with a short, "Hope you're doing good," and Daniel felt powerful, until the silence returned. What Daniel didn't realize was that his actions weren't based on growth. They were based on reaction. He wasn't moving on. He was performing. Every post, every date, every fake smile was just another way of saying, "Please look at me." And when you operate from that mindset, you're still chasing her, just indirectly. Trying to make a woman jealous rarely ends the way you want. Women are emotional strategists. When they sense you're trying to manipulate their feelings, they pull back even more. What could have created curiosity instead builds resentment. She won't see you as strong. She'll see you as petty. And even if she does respond, it's not because she respects you again. It's because her ego got triggered. That's not love, that's emotional tug of war. The truth is, genuine attraction never comes from games. The moment you focus on proving something, you're still giving her control over your emotions. Real confidence is when you don't need to prove anything, when your silence, growth, and peace speak louder than any Instagram story ever could. If Daniel had focused on healing instead, hitting the gym for himself, spending time with friends, rediscovering his purpose, he would have naturally become more attractive. Not because he forced it, but because he detached from needing her attention. That's what women actually notice. The shift from validation seeking to self-assured independence. So the next time you're tempted to make her jealous, stop and ask yourself, am I doing this for me or for her reaction? Because the truth is, the moment you stop trying to be seen is usually when they start paying attention again. The goal isn't to get her back. The goal is to get yourself back. 5. Staying friends. Too soon. When a woman walks away, one of the easiest traps men fall into is agreeing to stay friends. It sounds mature, it sounds peaceful, and it feels like a way to keep her close. But in reality, it's emotional quicksand. The moment you agree to be her friend while still having feelings for her, you've stepped into a dynamic that benefits her comfort and destroys your self-respect. Here's how it usually plays out. She says something like, "I still care about you, I just need space," or "I don't want to lose you completely, can we still be friends?" And because you're still emotionally attached, you say yes. You think staying in her life gives you a chance to win her back. But what actually happens is you become her emotional cushion while she moves on. She gets the best of both worlds. Your attention, your support, your energy, without having to commit to you. Meanwhile, you're stuck pretending you're okay while silently hoping she'll change her mind. That situation isn't friendship, it's self-sabotage. Every time she calls to talk about her day, you feel hopeful again. Every time she mentions another guy, it feels like a knife. You start measuring your worth by how often she contacts you, and when she finally finds someone new, you feel betrayed, even though she never promised otherwise. Now let's flip the script. When she suggests staying friends, that's your moment to set boundaries, respectfully, not emotionally. You don't need to be rude, but you need to be firm. A confident response would sound like, "I don't think being friends would be healthy for me right now, I still have feelings for you, and pretending I don't wouldn't be fair to either of us. Or you could say, I respect your decision, but I need distance to focus on myself. Maybe down the road we can reconnect, but not right now. Those words communicate self-respect and emotional intelligence. You're not begging, you're not angry, and you're not trying to manipulate her. You're simply drawing a line, and that's powerful. Women respect men who can say no without resentment. They notice when you value yourself enough to walk away from half-hearted connections. By not staying friends too soon, you give yourself the space to detach, rebuild, and regain emotional control. And ironically, that's often when she starts to question her choice. Because distance creates reflection, and reflection creates curiosity, but that's not the goal. The goal is to heal. If she comes back, great. If not, you've already leveled up into a stronger, wiser man. So remember this. Staying friends after a breakup isn't a sign of maturity. Knowing when not to is. Sometimes strength isn't about holding on. It's about letting go with dignity and protecting your peace. 6. Ignoring self-improvement. After a breakup, most men do the exact opposite of what they should. Instead of building themselves up, they fall apart. They stop going to the gym, lose focus at work, scroll endlessly through her photos, and spend nights overthinking how to fix what's already broken. It's understandable. Heartbreak hits hard. But this is also where most men miss their biggest opportunity, because the time after she walks away isn't a punishment, it's a reset. Think about it. When she leaves, she's not just walking away from you. She's walking away from the version of you that she no longer felt drawn to. That version might have lost his edge, his purpose, or his emotional control. Instead of obsessing over her decision, use it as fuel to evolve. The men who stay stuck in the pain are the ones who wait for her to validate their worth again. The men who rise from it are the ones who turn the pain into power. Let's be honest. No woman ever regretted leaving a man who sat around doing nothing. But plenty have second-guessed walking away from a man who came back sharper, calmer, and more focused than before. The goal isn't revenge or proving her wrong. It's proving to yourself what you're capable of when you stop chasing love and start chasing purpose. Improvement doesn't just mean hitting the gym, though that's a great start. It's also mental and emotional. Read more, learn new skills, get serious about your finances, reconnect with your ambition. When you start pouring energy back into yourself, something powerful happens. You stop seeing her as the center of your world. You become the center. Here's the mindset shift. Stop trying to become the man she would want back. Become the man you want to be. Because the version of you that begged for her attention was running on emotion. The version that grows from this runs on direction. When a man has a clear mission, his energy changes, his posture, his tone, his focus. People can feel it. And women notice it too, but that's not the point. The point is that you start noticing it. You start respecting yourself again. A breakup can break you or build you. And which one it becomes depends on what you do with your time. If you waste it waiting for her, you stay stuck in the same story. But if you use it to grow, you become the kind of man who never needs to chase love again. So when she walks away, don't collapse. Evolve. The best revenge isn't moving on with someone new. It's becoming so strong, disciplined, and self-assured that you look back and realize losing her was the best thing that ever happened to you. 7. Waiting instead of moving on. One of the most heartbreaking mistakes men make after a woman walks away is waiting. Waiting for her to call. Waiting for her to realize what she lost. Waiting for some movie-like moment where she suddenly comes running back saying, "I made a mistake." That fantasy keeps countless men emotionally stuck for months, sometimes years. They stop living their lives because they're secretly holding on to the hope that she'll come back. But here's the reality. Waiting isn't loyalty, it's avoidance. You're not waiting for her, you're avoiding the pain of moving on. When a woman leaves, she's not just testing your patience. She's moving forward. And while you're stuck watching her life unfold online, she's adapting to her new reality. The longer you wait, the more you train your mind to live in the past. You start replaying every good moment, every laugh, every inside joke, and convincing yourself that what you had can still be revived. But you're not remembering the relationship, you're remembering the feeling, and that feeling isn't coming back the way you think it will. Let's be real. Waiting doesn't bring her back. It only delays your healing. You stop meeting new people, stop chasing new goals, and stop being present in your own life. Every day you wake up hoping for a message that doesn't come. You're giving your power away. The man who waits becomes passive. The man who moves on becomes powerful. Because moving on isn't about replacing her, it's about reclaiming your direction. The truth is, women respect men who can accept reality and rebuild. When you stop waiting, you stop centering your life around someone else's decisions. You start asking better questions. What do I want next? What kind of man do I want to become? What kind of life do I want to build? That's where real confidence is born. Not in who you can get back, but in who you can become. And ironically, that's when things shift. Because the moment you stop waiting is often when she starts wandering. Not because of manipulation, but because you've detached. You've accepted that her absence isn't your ending. You're showing through your actions that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone's return. That's strength. That's attraction. So instead of waiting by the phone, start waiting on yourself. Waiting to see how powerful you can become when your energy is no longer wasted on what's gone. Build the body, grow the mindset, pursue the goals. Not for revenge, not for her attention, but because life doesn't pause for heartbreak, and neither should you. The man who waits loses time. The man who moves on gains freedom. Don't let your story end in waiting. Let it begin in movement, because every step forward takes you further from pain and closer to peace. When a woman walks away, it's easy to react from pain, to chase, to beg, to wait, to lose yourself trying to hold on. But every mistake men make in that moment comes from forgetting one truth. Your value isn't defined by who stays. It's revealed by how you handle who leaves. Use the loss as leverage. Use the silence to rebuild. Don't chase her, chase growth. Because the man who can let go with dignity doesn't lose. He evolves. Remember, strength isn't about keeping her. It's about never losing yourself again. And remember, if you're serious about mastering the dating game, don't miss out on my exclusive online course. We go beyond what's covered in these videos, giving you powerful insights from the first approach to lasting attraction. It's easy to enroll with a secure payment option. Visit stoicapproachtolife.podia.com or simply click the link in the description to secure your spot. Don't wait until it's too late. Take action now and start transforming your dating life today. I want to especially appreciate you for taking your time to watch till the end of this video. I hope the video helps you improve every aspect of your relationship with women. Until next time, this is Stoic Approach to Life.